Well, this is unprecedented. I'm going to a fourth tape. One way or another, I'm going to get, sooner or later, I'm going to get caught up here with my thoughts. And I'm going to go back to the 40-minute tape. I've got to. I hope I do, I really, I don't want to spend this much time doing these videos, but I feel like I've got a lot of stuff to say. When it comes to understanding law, understand that the highest law is given from God. And he says that we cannot live by the letter of the law because that will destroy all of us. So it's very important that we understand we must live by the spirit of the law, knowing the nature of God and the grace of God, that God is a God that is slow to anger. And when we acknowledge our shortcomings, our sin, our transgressions, our failings, he's quick to forgive, okay? And we turn to him and we confess and we admit those things. He's quick to forgive us, slow to anger and quick to forgive. So we depend on his grace. All of us need his grace. We're all sinners. It's just as simple as having a bad thought. You had a wrong thought, man. I thought something about somebody that was ugly. And that's improper. That's a sin before God. You thought the wrong thing. Because the next step is it leads to the wrong words and the wrong deeds and the wrong belief system entirely. So it overtakes us like a demonic thing. So it's very important to understand this about, how we're supposed to live our lives and what law means and the law of the Constitution. And all this stuff I talk about equality. It's a very American idea, precept, man. It's freedom. It's not a religious idea. It's about a cosmic idea of freedom. Wow, that's so radical. That's so far out. All men were born equal and created equal, equally endowed and entitled and righted by their Creator because he's the giver of all things. What a far out notion. That's in our Constitution. So the only thing that preempts the Constitution, that supersedes the Constitution, is literally the Word of God. That's the spirit of truth. That's logic and reason and all this stuff that makes perfect sense. It's all good, man. So when I criticize other people, I'm just trying to make my point. I'm trying to get it across any way I can. If it's hyperbolically, fine. But when people don't admit, even the math I'm saying, it works out mathematically what I'm saying. We can solve our problems and it would work out. It'd be fiscally prudent to do so and point how that works. What we're supposed to look for. Define the word progress, economic progress. Define the word government. All these are subjective terms. What is government? You're the government. I'm the government. It's about we the people, not we some of the people. Be very clear about your belief systems, okay? So that you can convey that to other people, that you're very clear. And what we're looking for, how we define progress. What is social economic progress? Why is that imperative to have if we're going to extricate ourselves from the dubious war? If we're going to extricate ourselves from the national debt, if we're going to extricate ourselves from the social welfare system, if we're going to extricate ourselves from all the crime, if we're going to extricate ourselves from all our vices and the abortions and the prostitution, all this crap I could go on all day about, okay? Then we've got to have understanding, which is knowledge, which is wisdom. We've got to, like King Solomon said, bind it around our necks, write it on the tablets of our hearts, man. Give a damn. Love one another. Like Jesus said, the most important things, man. Just, if you love me above all else, you will love one another. To be a friend to humanity is to be a friend to God. To be a friend to God is to be a friend to humanity. We are all equal expressions. We are equally beloved. We're extensions of God. We're like little God, being his children. Little gods, that's what we all are. We're very special, and our potential to imagine things and therefore to make those things manifest is unlimited. That's it. It's unlimited. Every stitch of technology we have, all the fabulous infrastructure, everything humanity's ever done. You got, toys on Mars and spaceships to the moon and all this stuff and satellites in space, all this really cosmic stuff going on. Just remember the source. Who gave us the ability to do those things? It's all God. And now God gives it to us. And this is just what it is, man. I mean, the whole thing is an expression of God. All All the progress on earth of man in terms of infrastructure and technology all came from God. It's not because of the capitalists. It's not because of the money. Okay, it's because people have inquiring minds. They're curious. They want to explore their limits, if they have any, and find out what is their potential. They want to explore their potential to imagine, because everything gets started with a thought. The Golden Gate Bridge was one guy's idea. Well, you know what? I mean, it'd be nice to get to the other side here, but how in the hell are we going to build a bridge across this gulf, I mean, it's the mouth of the San Francisco Bay. It's like building a bridge across the ocean. Rough seas at that, but another guy, maybe an engineer, said, well, it's feasible. We can do that. But it started invisibly, right? Invisibly. That's it, man. Your ideas, your imagination, visible. And then it came to be. It's the same thing with the spaceships and the toys on Mars and the satellites and on with the technology and the infrastructure and all the factories and the stuff coming out of the factories. It's all because one guy had an idea. One other guy said that's a harebrained idea. Another guy said, no, that might be feasible. And so we set forth to make it manifest, and we did, but at the hand of God, because God gave us the wherewithal. That just means he gave you the brain and the hands and the feet and to make it happen. And the ability to convey your idea to other people and get them on board and sell them on and say, yeah, that is possible. We can do that. Let's try it at least. Explore. Let's explore our potential of creativity. And it's all because of God. God gave us this. Everything belongs to God, so it's all rightful. It all makes sense. It's all logical to say that everything is God's. So honor God above all. Glorify God. Accredit God with everything. Okay, not me. The last thing I want is to ever be famous, really. To be quite honest with you. I mean, look, all these people that are famous out there, I don't envy them at all. Okay, because once you're famous, okay, all you can do is either stay famous until you die or become infamous. But, when you're a nobody like myself, it's got a lot of benefits and perks. Okay, you don't get stalkers, you don't get paparazzi, you don't get people that are, because you're prominent and high profile, that they want to come after you because they hate what you're teaching. The public is anti-establishment, like they hated Jesus. Jesus is very famous, the most famous guy in the world, right? But they hated him. The establishment hates him. This is a problem. I don't want to be hated without a cause. Who does? But a lot of decent, upright, righteous people that are in those high prominent positions of media, guys like Alex Jones, for example. I mean, he's hated by a lot of people, and he hates to be hated in an unwarranted fashion. He doesn't deserve to be hated. He's nobody's enemy, not really. He's a pussycat when it comes right down to it. But he's very defensive about the truth, about the fact that his organization is after the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that's the way it is. His reporters, I mean, and I can disagree on little areas, but, I can also be part of the conversation. It's interactive. And so I can leave comments and people can read them and they can say, well, maybe he's right about this. And they can change their view, change their opinion of something and say, yeah, this is true. This is what we should be doing. And it makes logic. It makes sense. It sounds really liberal or it sounds really conservative, whatever it is. But, hey, if it's right, it's right. Why should we care about what's conservative, what's liberal? I mean, who cares? I mean, good ideas are what they are. They're good ideas. They came from God above all else. So if it's a conservative or liberal, a communist or a capitalist idea, nobody gives a crap. If it fixes things, it fixes things. We need to get to the bottom of things, though. We've got to know what's going on here. We need to confront those causing our problems. These highfalutin politicians, high-ranking politicians, okay, and their money-printing cohorts. They're colluding together. They've done this to us. They're the ones that illegitimately legitimize the debt. This is a big problem. We can't have this debt to continue in perpetuity. We've got to get off the junk, man. It's killing people. We're killing people. This is how they're doing it, man. This is how the debt's getting paid. It's just like it just feeding this mulcher, and that mulcher is taking human lives. That's what we're doing. It's happening right under our noses. We've got to understand the severity, the gravity of the situation, and God's going to hold us all accountable for what we say and think and do, and what we don't think and say and do. All of us, each one of us individually, we're not going to be able to say, yeah, but all these people taught me this, so I'd prescribe. You can't blame them. They're out of the picture. They'll stand one-on-one with God. It's up to you as an individual to choose the right course of action, the right beliefs first to embrace. And then the right words to say that are divinely inspired and tactful beyond any question, diplomatic, that are effective in wooing people in, winning them over, getting them to jump ship from the establishment, saying, no, this is a train headed to destruction, headed for a brick wall. It's like a raft careening over the edge of a waterfall to destruction. That's where they're going, and they're just desperate now. They don't know what to do. If they can't keep increasing poverty, I mean, do you know how horrible that would be for these people? They're evil, man. They're evil. They create poverty. They don't want to end poverty. This is how they stay in control. This is what gives them more control, more power. That money is involved. Remember, this is how they do it. This is how Satan does it. And they're all, whether winning or not, they're working with that spirit of Satan. That's that goal is just to annihilate us, destroy us. But remember what's written in the Bible. We battle not against flesh and blood, but against these evil people in high places, these principalities and powers in high places. It's a spiritual battle at the end of the day. Okay? It's spiritual in the sense, but it's also intellectual. It involves both the spirituality and the intellectual and the logic and reason. All this stuff, it all comes together to gang up on the evil. And this is how we're going to overcome these people. It's by the hand of God, literally working through people, decent, upright people, to overthrow them and say, we don't care. You can kill me. I'm not going to hate you. You blow my... But one way or another, God's will is going to be established on earth. It's going to be reclaimed, and it's going to be renewed. It's going to be a beautiful place to live when all the evil is done away with, when it's separated from the righteous. No more bullying of the righteous. That's what's coming. It's tough to be hated without a cause, but it's something the righteous must endure. Loving means caring. It means giving a damn. To suggest there are no good liberal ideas, quote, is just as stupid as to suggest there are no conservative ideas. You see, these are words. Words are just words, okay? But we've got to discuss the subjective nature of the terms. Who cares if you've got a good idea and it happens to be labeled conservative? Who cares if you've got a really good idea and it happens to be labeled liberal? If it fixes the damn problems, let's embrace it. So let's heal this division. Don't give these evildoers what they want. They want us at each other, so they want us divided. They love a civil war in America. They love it. That would really help them bring in their draconian police state, authoritarian, totalitarian, communism, fascism, all that crap, man. The communism, the crony capital has just been allowed to flourish so that they could install communism, man, which is never going to work for anybody. They want permanent oligarchs, permanent elitists, permanent hypocrites up there at the top. And we've got to say, no, this is America. The buck stops here. We got to do it for the rest of the world, even if we don't care. We got to say, damn it, blow my brains out. I don't care. But I'm going to get my point across. Any way I can, by any means necessary, I'm going to get my point across. And I'm going to try to help heal the nation and heal the division. We've got to come together in the name of God. God help us. We're in trouble, folks. It's coming to an end, man, that God's not going to tolerate the dubious war and children and women and innocents being murdered and maimed. All of it, the innocent people, Jesus Christ, dying out in the cold every day of the week. He's not going to tolerate it much longer. Aborting baby and tell, hey, there's nothing immoral about that. There's no law against aborting your baby. But you smoke pot, man, go to jail, receive a fine, man. You understand? Satan is running the world. The entire system, established system, is just fraud heaped upon fraud. From head to toe. Fraud upon fraud. Just a giant house of sand that's going to crumble, man. It's falling apart, and we've all got to understand that. And we've all got to take this time now to really demand it, keep going this direction. We've got to keep it going, man. We've got to cleave to any progress at all. Know what you're looking for, man. You're going to demand that true capitalism works, and it's only used as a means to an end. That's it. So anybody out there that is devout hater of capitalism, I get it, man. I get it. Believe me, I get it. I hate crony capitalism. I hate it with a passion. I probably hate it worse than some complacent communist out there who says, no, I just have my beliefs. I believe in socialism. I believe in the Robin Hood theory, take from the haves and give to the have-nots. Sure, why not? Free college, entitlement programs, and all that. We just make the rich, the haves, pay for it. Yeah, you know where it's coming from? The everyday people. It's coming out of the backs of the poor.